Multiple material on mesh. I like to produce the highest res scene. And I like to have the ability to go down in levels as whatever I produce. In other words, if I produce a scene and I want to put it on a phone, okay, I could choose what resolution map I want to export out of Unity. If I want to play it on my computer and use the full res, I can. So I'm going to show you this thing called multiple material on mesh and downscaling and upscaling. Multiple material on mesh it's a tricky thing to show, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this building right here and I'm going to export it into my work in progress directory. I'll call this building. And I only want the selection, and I want just the UVs. I don't even want the material. Here's the secret, throughout the whole thing of this, I'll take each and every part into a brand new spanking scene and work on it and then import it into the engine. So this is my kind of big idea, and then from it I'm just going to pull up smaller samples and then do the UVs and then do the textures and then export them out. That's my workflow. So I'll go new. Oops. And I'll import the wavefront object from my desktop, Unity workflow, work in progress directory, and OBJ. Okay, multiple materials on mesh. So here's the deal. You don't want to produce, a scene within a game where the building has lower resolution than the actual material or objects around it. And that's often sometimes the case where you're running out of UV space. So this is an option that you can take when you run out of UV space. Buildings are notorious for running out of UV space. Alright, so let's look at its UVs. Let's see what's holding it back. Okay, remember the roof is a different texture altogether. So this is the roof. I'm going to put it down here. This is the bottom. I'll put it down here. And then I have these things. And these things are taking up a lot of room. No doubt about it. Let's look at the seams here. Are there any? No, there's no seams. Okay. Probably because, when I import it as an OBJ, you lose your seam data. Seems like a good idea, right? So, here, these are my important shells. Actually, they're all important. So what I'm going to try to do is first hit B for box select and scale all these up. And for every texture, every little bit that you can scale them up, it's going to really help out. Okay. And then I'm just going to take these and start putting them over here. Now, what about texture direction and all that good stuff? What about that stuff? That's very important. Texture direction is very important. Okay. So, what we have to do is kind of think of the 0 to 1 as everything that's going to be very important and everything that's not going to be very important, or a different material altogether we can put down here. Whoa, you never said we can use down here. And you can use down there. In certain circumstances, you can. Okay, so let's look at actually reseaming a couple of things here. Let's see here, mark seam. Okay, so mark seam. So we still need those seams around the windows. And I know it seems like I'm doing this building over and over again, but there's so many different scenarios for it that, you know, I'd hate to have you miss out on. And really, you have to learn this stuff before you learn the harder stuff, which is, you know, like organic. Because organic's got its own little quirks and quims too. But really, this teaches you a lot about resolution and how to maintain it. Okay, remember I don't have this door anymore, so why do it? Let's get rid of it. Okay. So we're already getting rid of a lot of texture space that we had before because we had windows. We had like these backers in the background. So you're going to end up upscaling your res. So this is something you're going to end up doing. And when you see the difference that it makes, it's the difference between Call of Duty and Bionic Commando. It's a huge difference, right? Anybody that's played those games would know the difference between those games. And we're talking the old Bionic Commando, not the new stupid one that you fall into radioactivity and die every 2 seconds. That game never was a good idea. Okay, a couple more seams. Oops, mark seam. Okay, did I get them all? Around that, around that. Okay, mark seam. And actually these seams I can mark in here if I wanted to. So if I just wanted to go in here, go like that, and mark a seam. And I could do that around the top, around the outside. So I already have pretty good seams established, but some of these are outdated. One more. Okay. U unwrap. Okay, it looks like I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? U unwrap. Hey, that looks better. All right. Yep, that looks really good. So now all these little pieces are down here, and these are the pieces that really aren't being seen. There we go. And these are the very important pieces. So let's go in here and take off the link. Hit A, L, rotate, G, L, R, rotate, X, -90. Oops. R, Y, -90. There we go. So if you want to type in a numeric value, just got to make sure that you hit OK afterwards. So it's like R, Y, -90, then left click. Okay, so that's a lot of hassle. Sometimes it's just easier to just do it the other way. Okay, those are the most important shells right here, right? Leaving this one that I have no idea what it is, so I'm going to hit sync. This is my top one. So this is the one that has the asphalt on the top. That's a different material. So what I'm going to do is shove it down here. This bottom one, it's a different material. Well, it's brick, but it's not being seen. So I'm going to stick it down here, leaving all this room. So when I consolidated my UVs, you can see how much more room I had just by redoing them, now that I've got into my scene a little bit more. Okay, scale. Okay, now it's taking up a lot more room. Box select, G on the keyboard. I'll put that over here. Box select, G on the keyboard. I'm going to put that over here. Now, if it wasn't for texture direction, I would have even more room. Box select, G on the keyboard. So I could probably put that one here. Now, this one. Box select, scale. Now this is going to be asphalt, so what I'm going to do is upscale it as big as I can get it and put it first up here just so I can measure what that really is. Okay, so right about there, takes it up the space, and then I'm going to move it down here. So that is my configuration for the UVs using multiple materials. Now, let's see how we're going to do this in the next video.